This tag makes me hungry for cookies. Today we're gonna do the Girl Scout cookie tag, and I was tagged by Fiber Artsy. I will link her channel down below if you want to check her out. And this tag was created by a web of stories, and I will link their channel down below as well. So cookies. Also, my favorite Girl Scout cookie are Samoas. Those are my hands down favorite. Whenever I used to get Girl Scout cookies, just boxes of those, nothing else. Occasionally I'd eat Thin Mints, but Samoas, those are the best. All right, so basically we're gonna name a cookie and then kind of like the vibe that cookie gives off, and then the book of what that is. If that, I don't even know if that made sense, but let's just get into it. Here we go. The first prompt is Trefoils, a classic novel that you love. So my favorite classic book is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. That might be my only favorite classic book. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's others. That's the one that comes into my mind that I've read over and over several times that I really liked. All right, so the next one is Lemon Ups, a book that you find inspiring. Recently, one of the most inspiring books I've read was The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. And that book is one of the best books that I've read on creativity, hands down, ever. It's so good. You want to be inspired? You haven't feeling like you're stuck in a lull? Read The Creative Act by Rick Rubin. It's absolutely fantastic and inspiring. All right, the next prompt is S'mores, a comforting book. When I think comforting, I think like cozy, and that leads me to cozy fantasy, and that leads me to Legends and Lattes, because that book is the coziest and rosiest and nosiest of books because of all the smells, of course, from the beautiful, delicious baked things that are baked in this book. So good, so cute. And if you haven't at this point in time read Legends and Lattes, it is about this big, strong brute of an orc named Viv, and she's finally done with her battle days. That's behind her. She wants to settle down, open up a coffee shop, and just, relax and live a quiet and peaceful life. And it's just a fantastic book. I absolutely love it. The next one is Adventurefuls, which I don't think I've ever heard of that cookie. So maybe those are newer? I don't remember those. It has been a minute since I bought Girl Scout cookies. So, an adventurous book. One of my favorite adventurous books is Magica by Clive Barker. That is what pops in my brain. I mean, I could also name the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Heck of some adventures going on in that as well. And anything by Brandon Sanderson. There's a lot of adventure books we could name. Most fantasy books. All right, anyways, I'm getting off track here. But yes, we'll focus. Go Magica. That is the one. All right, and now for my favorite cookie, Samoas, a book that blends two or more genres. And immediately I went to the genre of romance. That's right, romance. Horror romance. And I think of Isabel Cañas, and she's written two of them, but Vampires of El Norte was the most recent that I've read, and it's a horror romance, which I refer to as homance, and I loved it. It's fantastic. The Hacienda by her is also awesome. I loved both of those. But if you like Vampires of El Norte takes place back in the day, and it is just a lovely horror romance. Would highly recommend it. Okay, next prompt we got is Do-si-dos, either a book you love that everyone seems to hate, or a book that you hate that everyone seems to love. I can't think of anything like that. I can't think of a book I love that everyone hates. Cannot think of one. And then as for a book that I hate that everyone seems to love, there's only one book I hate, and I've heard no one else talk about it, so I don't hate it. It just had a lot of ideas that were great that went nowhere, which ruined the book for me. But I'm done talking about that book, and I'm not going to say the name of it. If you've been around the channel, you probably know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the next one is Thin Mints, one of your all-time favorite books. There are several, but I'm going to talk about the newest all-time favorite book, and that is Ghoul in the Cape by Josh Malerman. That is maybe my all-time favorite book. I read that book 2 years ago, and it's a horror book, but it's so much more. It's this road trip of a book that takes you on this madcap adventure that you just didn't know you needed, and you meet all these wild friends along the way. Such a motley crew of people, and it's emotional and passionate and deranged, and there's just so much going on in it, and it's such a fantastic book. I love it so much. I'm never gonna stop talking about it. And then the last prompt is tag-alongs. This is where you're supposed to tag some fellow booktubers, but I'm neurotic and I don't like to tag anyone because I don't like putting pressure on anyone. So I'm of the vein that if you thought this was a fun tag, consider yourself tagged. And if you're a fan of tag videos, next video coming up will be another tag video, so stick around, check it out. Also, if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.